Hello everyone, this is Priyanka Mishra and I'm again here with the last topics from the chapter The Working of the Institutions from the Political Science book. And now the next topic that we are going to discuss is about the president. If you remember, the last topic that we discussed in the last tutorial was about the role, duties, and functions of the Prime Minister. In the same procedure, we are now dealing with the functions, powers, and role of the president in a democratic country like ours. So, first of all, here as you can see, there is the list of all President of India from the first Dr. Rajendra Prasad till the present one Ram Nath Kovind. From the year 1950 till current day, total 14 presidents our country is having. The current president is Sri Ram Nath Kovindji. Now, the question arises, who is a president? What are his duties? How he or she is elected? The president. The president of India is actually the head of the state, while the prime minister is the head of the government. She is just a nominal power like the Queen of Britain. She is elected indirectly by the people. She is elected by the members of parliament and the members of legislative assemblies. She represents the entire nation but never claims the direct popular mandate. That means the president is basically the signatory authority of the country. Now, what are the powers and duties of a president? All the government activities takes place in the name of the president. All the major appointments such as the chief minister, chief justice, judges, governors, election commissioner, prime minister, ambassadors to other countries, they all are made by the president only. The president is the only one who issues all the major decisions and laws of the government. She is the supreme commander of the defense forces of India. If the president is not satisfied with the advice given by the Council of Ministers, he can ask them to reconsider its advice. She is bound to act according to the same advice if given again or rendered after reconsideration. That means the president cannot take the final decision or cannot mold any decision. He can only urge for reconsideration of the decision for once. As the president can do anything on his her own, so you may wonder that she appoints the prime minister, that means the leader of majority. But in case no party or coalition get majority in Lok Sabha, then the president exercises his or her discretionary power. Under that discretionary power, the president can decide who would be the prime minister. After that, we are coming to the judiciary, the last organ of the government. The judiciary, it is the most important political institution. All the court at different levels in a country put together are called as judiciary. India has an integrated judiciary. It is not under the control of the legislature or executive. The judges do not act on the direction of the government or according to the wishes of the party. That's why it is called that the judiciary is totally an independent body or organ. No one exercise any control over the judiciary. Now we are coming to the duties of the judiciary. Judiciary, in that the Supreme Court, that is the supreme body, resolves the disputes such as citizens of the country, citizen and the government, two or more state governments, government and state governments. Now, as you can see, there are the types of courts in our country. There are actually three types of courts: Supreme Court, that is the supreme judicial body of our country; High Courts, in every state there is a High Court; and district courts, in every district there is a district court. That is actually is a local level court. High Court is for the state level, and Supreme Court for the entire nation. Due to the integrated judicial system of the country, there is a strong connection between all the courts. Among all the three courts, Supreme Court is the highest one, and the appeal in criminal as well as civil cases can be at the highest level done at the Supreme Court. It can hear appeals against the decision of high courts also. Actually, we know that there is a procedure in our country that whenever a low level court and its decision cannot satisfy the people are having the power to appeal in the higher levels. The judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts are appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister and in consultation with the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Once a person is appointed as the judge of the Supreme Court or the High Court, it is now nearly impossible to remove him or her from that position. A judge can only be removed by an impeachment motion passed by separately by two-thirds members of the two houses of the parliament. Now, the powers of judiciary. The judiciary in India is one of the most powerful judicial system in the world. The Supreme Court and the High Courts have the power to interpret the constitution of the country. They can determine the constitutional validity of any legislation or action of the executive in the country when it is challenged before them. This is known as the judicial review. So, by these duties, we can see that how the judicial system of our country acts the role of enforcing the laws, regulations and rules on the people of the country, and they make them abide by those rules and regulations. The Supreme Court of India has also ruled that the core or basic principles of the constitution cannot be changed even by the parliament. The powers and the independence of Indian judiciary allow it to act as the guardian of the fundamental rights. Anyone can approach the courts if public interest is hurt by the actions of the government. This is called public interest litigation. That means, over and all, we can say that the judiciary makes the common people able to even go against the government with the help of judiciary if they think that their interests have been violated by the actions of the government. So thank you so much. This was for the chapter. We'll meet very soon with some new topics and some new chapter. Bye.